GM. Just gotta send out a quick post on X, and we'll get this show underway. Just give me a couple minutes, okay? Not even a couple minutes, just give me a second. How's everybody doing today? Let me know if the mic is loud enough. I know the music is still a little bit louder. I'll turn it down, but just give me a second while I write this post and then we'll jump into it. Okay, got that out of the way. Turn this right down. GM. See what we got here in the chat. Moses says GM, buddy, good to see you again. Always appreciate seeing you in the chat. JJ, my good boy JJ, GM, Lunar, GM. Monday morning, or Monday afternoon now, shall I say, new week. And we had some good setups that have unfolded. Some things from our last stream that we were looking for that played out pretty accurately, I have to say. Let me just get through the introduction stuff. I am 0xRapture. This is Astrology for Men. Coffee, charts, and a cigarette, where I will chart any shitcoin with a pulse. Give a shout out to the sponsors of the show, the Daily Edge, thedailyedge.com. 1 second. Where's my mouse? There we go. Thedailyedge.com/subscribe, which is a daily newsletter written by my good friend Onchain Wizard, which is a newsletter taking a look at the previous day, full of actionable intel, insights, and information about the market. Mostly focused on chain, but there is some perps related information in there. It's a free newsletter, so go ahead and subscribe to thedailyedge.com/subscribe. As well, a big shout out to ChainEDGE, ChainEDGE.io, which is an on-chain analytics platform tracking the top 0.01% of DEX traders by profitability across Solana and EVM. You can monitor the real-time flows, track the hot ball of money while it moves around on chain. You can monitor holdings data. You can check attention and things like that. And don't forget that you can find links in the About section on Twitch or in the description on YouTube, as well on my X account if you're joining us from X. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel wherever you're joining us from, so you can always catch one of these live streams and stay up to date. Let me get that stuff out of the way. Let's bring up the stream. Let's bring up my screen. Boobs, what up, buddy? GM, thank you for being here. Bring my screen up. What are we looking at here? We got the Bitcoin weekly chart looking pretty solid at the moment. I don't know how many of you were joined us for last Friday's stream, but we really focused on, let's drop this down to the H4. We'd really been focused on this 84.5K level. It's actually pretty clear on the daily. This 84.5K level as an inflection point. I said, while we were monitoring, we were saying we're bullish and long biased above that 84.5K level and neutral below. Well, after the stream, we got a close above 84.5K, recapturing the level. And I said, well, your bias here is long. And look at the move we've had since that has played out. This whole area we were watching as a support resistance, well, it's flipped. And as soon as that closed above, you had your trigger to be long and bullish biased. And since that move, we've now created a new H4 range, right? We're bullish on H4. We might still be in a bearish structure, high time frame, like our 3-day is still bearish structure. Our daily is still bearish structure. And there is a important level here we're monitoring on daily, although it, at this rate, it does look like we're going to close above that. And I do think, looking at the daily chart, the move up to 90, maybe 92K looks pretty likely at this moment in time. But of course, nothing is guaranteed. We can pop down again to H4 and we'll throw the Monday range up. We can see we're forming a new Monday range. I'm just going to turn the music off for now. There we go. Turn the music on. Johnny Fap, GM, what up, buddy? Thanks for being here. And 0xRapture's says GM as well. Well, GM to everybody that's here. Appreciate you being here. So we've got our new Monday range forming. Nothing we can really do with it at this moment because we don't know where the full extent of the Monday range is going to be. Like, is this where we're going to top for now? We don't know, but it's something that we can monitor throughout the remainder of the week. Once this Monday range forms, we have a range that we can base trades around depending on how things start to play out. But at the moment, there's not much we can really do with it because it is still forming. So we can hide that away for now. But as you guys might remember from a few streams back and recent streams, I've been really talking about the Monday range a lot. It's a really solid strategy to use throughout the week. Shout out to Trader Main, who I learned the Monday range strategy from a few years back now. And it continues to be a valid and useful range to trade. But on H4, we can see that we've now got a higher high on H4. Where we are right now, there isn't really a trade to take because, the meat of this move has taken place. So we're waiting to see where we get our next swing high set. And maybe this is what it ends up looking like. Like, say, it's just under 2 hours until this candle closes. But say it closes like that. Well, then we've got our H4 swing high. And we can start to base some trades around that. But do really want to be cognizant of what takes place at the daily close around this level. If this is an SFP, that would not be a great sign. But it's looking rather strong right now. Just under 6 hours till the daily close. So it's a ways to go. But if we put in something strong like this, combined with a solid looking H4, we can set up some trades based around that. It's difficult to sort of outline where that might go next from what we have here. But say you do put in your range high here, you're going to be looking to try and find the next higher low. It's a massive range. Like the H4 swing low is all the way down here. And realistically, to remain bullish, we don't want to see it come all the way back down to the H4 range low because we do want to see price stay above that 84.5K level. because I think if we start getting closes back down here, then the probability wise is looking like we're going to come down and see some of these levels again, but that's not what we're facing right now. We're quite bullish into this move. We do want to be aware that we are running closer towards the next area that we'd be looking for signs of rejection and for a lower high to be set on high time frame. But we want to ride this bullish momentum, this bullish stair stepping up into this region. So I think for the moment in time, what it might even be is if we set this as an H4 swing high, you're looking for some sort of pullback into this region. Might even be into this breaker right here. It's a wide area though. It's a little bit difficult to base anything around that at the moment. I don't really want to outline that just now. I'm just trying to take a look here on H4 if there's anything else we might be able to look for. So there is, now this is a tiny one, but there is a fair value gap right there on H4. And that's, you know, it's a tiny little H4 fair value gap. There's also one just below it. So it might be that price, once we put in a swing high on H4 here, it's going to look to come down into this area somewhere for the higher low before making a move up into here, or maybe it just rips from here. It's, you know, it's difficult to say at this moment in time because price is still looking quite bullish and we haven't set a swing high. So this could just very well continue to rip up and we negate this being a potential swing high, and maybe it doesn't form up until it gets up into that daily supply. We can take a look on H1. Is that a potential? Yeah, you might be looking here and saying, okay, maybe it's going to put in an H1 SFP there, and we're putting in which would line up with the H4, potentially putting in a swing high. I don't really love using H1 too much. It's a lot of noise. Like you can see how noisy this was, right? Although through this entire move up, ever since it recaptured that 84.5K level, it's never lost H1 structure at all, right? It's kept putting in lows, highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. It's a little too early to say, but it would be nice to get some sort of setup off of an H4 swing high and say this ends up being our Monday range. Then we do have stuff to work with. And the Monday range is great because you treat it just like any other range, but it's one that throughout the week is often used as an anchor point. So say the Monday range sets and it closes something like this, and then later in the weeks they were closing above the range high, like say on like Tuesday or Wednesday, we've put in PA like somewhere up here. But then we do something like this, and then we get back inside the Monday range. Well, then you'd be looking to short something like this, potentially back to the Monday mid-range, or even down to the Monday low. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but these are ways that you can play that. You know, just like last week, this was our Monday range right here. Right? Where was the bottom of the Monday range? Yeah. This had been the Monday range right here. This had been the Monday range from previous week, right? We had a deviation below the Monday range. It recaptured the Monday range, traded back to the top of the Monday range, and then beyond. It got back within the Monday range and sort of traded to midpoint. But once we figured out or realized that really what we were monitoring was that 84.5K inflection point, that clear level that had been captured and then lost. Well, once we realized that was the key level that we were monitoring for a recapture, the Monday range became a little less important. But now this is what we're working with. Sorry, it is getting a little bit cloudy in here with all these lines drawn and boxes. But I do think Still an hour and a half to go. But if we get the swing high set here on the H4 range with the Monday range, I think we'd probably be looking for some sort of pullback down into here, somewhere around here for a higher low to set, and a key confluence with the Monday mid range around there. Like say you get some sort of SF or some sort of sweep down into there, and it holds the Monday mid range. Well, there's your next trigger to go long. But nothing to panic about this move up. I still think like if you manage to enter the trade somewhere here, then you're looking for it to go higher. I mean, the even better sign, the even better trigger from almost 2 weeks ago now was when we pointed out that 3-day SFP that took place. Like, it's kind of funny and interesting because it's fun and fulfills some of that gambling addiction to trade both ways. But there could have been some over trading that took place in here, and all you had to do was just take that trigger off the 3-day SFP and ride it, and try and ride it all the way up into here. I was chatting with some friends, and we realized this morning. We were like, well, there was probably some over trading that took place on a lot of our parts, but it's all just part of the learning experience and target practice and refining the craft and getting better. That's why we do want to try and get those high time frame entries, so you can do the least amount of management and ride it to completion. But that's where we're at on Bitcoin right now. Chart looks great. Chart's looking great. Next setup would be, looking for some sort of higher low somewhere in here, because we do have the higher high on H4, right? Regardless of where this ends up putting in the swing high of the range, we do have a higher high. So we'd be looking for the higher low based on probabilities, right? We can take a look at SPX. It's been doing some nice things. Nice open today. And the overall equities market's looking a lot more stable than it has, and potentially at least short-term bottomed. I think there's a big date coming up on April 2nd related to tariff news and stuff like that. I mean, that's the one thing that we do have to contend with these days, is not equities and TradFi markets, but it's also at the mercy of a random tweet or policy signaling out of the White House. Keeps things fun though, right? But SPX is looking good. I mean, I drew this a few when was this? 11 days ago, so almost 2 weeks ago, and it's sort of played out similar, right? Like this to there was this to here. Now we've put that move up into here. I do think this weekly level, like we can see here on weekly, that weekly level is going to see some sort of resistance. What I would love is for price to get all the way up towards the actual weekly supply up here in SPX, and that would give crypto and Bitcoin a lot of room and breathing room to go up, right? Like say Bitcoin can get up into this weekly supply. Now our bias is still, once we get up there, we're looking for potential triggers for a short. And what would change that? Well, is if we get a weekly close above the bearish range high. Same thing on 3-day. If we get a 3-day close above the bearish range high, which is here, well, then that puts us back into bullish market structure. And with daily, here's your daily range high. So the daily and 3-day, actually that's an interim level. But the daily, if daily flips bullish, yes, we're right up into 3-day supply. So that is a bit of an area where it's going to be, you're going to have to get there and play it by feel. Like you can't just assume that because the daily flips bullish, if it closes above here, like we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're not there yet. But say daily closes above the swing high and we've regained bullish structure on daily, we can't just assume that that means it's going to keep going up, because we do have the weekly and 3-day supply overhead. But it's an area where it could go either way at that point. So we do have to be nimble and play it by the information that we start seeing take place. But yeah, overall, bullish above 84.5K. We're looking quite strong here. Let's take a look at ETH on daily. So ETH has managed to run up and tag the daily supply. You know, like Bitcoin hasn't quite reached there yet. Daily supply on Bitcoin is, you know, a little bit further up. We're into some areas of supply here, but I think the true supply is up here. Well, ETH's already come up and tagged that. And there is a key level there on ETH to watch, that if it closes as an SFP today, I think you might be looking to short that down. Solana's up into its daily supply. Excuse me. It's put in a beautiful move. And if we actually look at the monthly on Sol, this is that monthly demand that we outlined a little while back. And there's also this key monthly level here that it's swept. We're in the process of sweeping. Still a week and change until the monthly is closed. But if this closes as a, you know, if it holds something like this and as an SFP of the previous month low, like that's looking a lot like a bottom there on Solana. Does it go to new all-time highs? I don't know. But on a monthly time frame, if we get this monthly to close like this is looking a lot like a swing low for monthly, right? Like maybe the next candle sort of comes down to here and then starts printing upwards, right? Because it's the same thing that you're looking for, right? The fractals from any time frame, you're looking for them on higher time frame to lower time frame. Well, an SFP, or sorry, not an SFP, but a swing level on monthly, it's going to have a long area, but it's going to mirror what happens on lower time frames, right? Like here was a swing high, and look at how large those candles were on a monthly time frame. Well, we could be putting in the reverse here. That's, you know, potentially our swing low right there, and the next monthly candle could trade down more, but we'd be looking for it to hold to then start seeing some expansion to the upside. So there is reason to be feeling bullish in these areas that we're looking at. You know, here's weekly supply on Solana. Still has a ways to go, similar to like on Bitcoin, right? Like there's a gap up into that weekly supply area, right? Like here's Bitcoin's weekly supply. It's getting close. On Solana, it's up into here. H4 on Solana, we put in a higher high. So we can make an adjustment here, right? It's doing bullish stair stepping. Here was your previous H4 range. You got a higher high. There was your H4 range. Now we've got a new higher high. So we can realign this. Here's our H4 swing low. Get rid of that. You know, we're just doing that bullish stair stepping. It's counter trend to the higher time frame trend, but that's what we talk about all the time, right? Like you can have your high time frame trend being one thing, but then you're running counter trend to that to form the lower highs or lower lows or higher highs or higher lows, depending on which bias you are on high time frame. Well, so at the moment, low time frame on Solana is putting in higher highs, higher lows, but is it potentially running into an area where it's going to be forming its higher time frame lower high? We don't know that yet. But for now, we're riding the trend. You do want to be aware that on Solana, you're running up into an area where you're going to see potential rejection. But we have no indication that the counter trend on lower time frame is coming to an end. So we're bullish for now. I think somewhere where you might be looking for the lower high on H4 to form on Solana might be somewhere in here. you know, maybe you get some of this stuff happening, right? Maybe it puts in some sort of SFP on the PA once it gets down into here. And that would be your next trigger to get long on Solana. Looks like a pretty decent area for something like that to happen. You know, this is looking like we're going to print that swing high. There would be your H4 range. Well, I think somewhere in here is where you'd be looking for the next lower high to form on Solana. What we wouldn't want to see is losing this H4 swing low, right? Because then it starts to look a lot like we've ran up into the daily supply and then we're getting that rejection. And then we'd see lower. We don't have to think about that right now, but it is, you know, it's the if this, then that's, if that, then this. Well, at the moment, if something like this plays out, we're looking to either add to our longs or re-long from this area. Conversely, if it loses this level, then we'd be looking for a short into supply. Always good to be aware of what your different options are and what the different potential outcomes are, so that in the event that they unfold, you know how you want to play them, so that you're not looking at the chart or staring at things going, oh, I don't know what to fucking do here. I'm lost. Like, oh, I was bullish and all of a sudden this happened. Should I cut? Should I short? Like, you want to have your plan set out ahead of time so that when these things unfold, you know what to do and you don't freeze in the moment and you just execute with a level of confidence because you've done your analysis ahead of time and you're prepared for any outcome. Just looking in the chat real quick. Blue Sky Jim says, yo. 1 kilo 09. What the most you ever made? What's the most? I mean, that's a rather personal question. I'm not going to divulge the size of my bankroll, but you know, I've been in crypto since 2020, so I have a decent amount, but I don't like to talk about actual bankroll size. It's a personal question. Where should a beginner go to master this? I want to learn the terms you're using. Okay, well, that's a good question. If you go on to the Daily Edge YouTube channel, where is there a link for that? Where are you joining us from? You're joining us on Twitch. Okay. So if you go into the About section on Twitch, there is a link for the AFM Telegram group. If you want to just go join that Telegram group, it's a community for these live streams, and you can ask some questions in there. You can also find links to the YouTube, and there's a older video that I put out called Class Sessions Volume 1, I believe, that goes through and breaks down a lot of the concepts that I use. And I'll also be doing more setup and education focused streams again moving forward, and not just these quick updates and chart reviews. But if you want to start somewhere, that's a good place, is the Class Sessions Volume 1 from the Daily Edge YouTube channel, which you can find a link to in the Daily Edge Telegram group, which you can access from the About section. Yeah, the YouTube channel, I can see your questions there. It's youtube.com/ one second. Let me just pull it up and I can share the link. 1 second. Where is it? Here we go. Here, if you go to that link, that YouTube, that's where a lot of the older streams are hosted. Like, I do these on Twitch, YouTube, and X at the same time. But if you go into the live streams section, the stream section on the YouTube channel, if you look for Class Sessions #1, I think it's called, it's something like that. It's where I walk through in a much slower pace the process that I'm using, at least a lot of it. But also I talk about them through each stream and what it is that I'm looking for. I do have to remember from time to time that just because it's easy for me to recognize all these things and see these things as soon as I see a chart. That for a lot of people it takes more time, or that I should approach them a little bit slower. So I will start doing more streams that are strictly based around the system and not quickly running through charts, but that's a good place to start. So appreciate you joining us and asking questions. That's the number one way to learn, is by actually taking the time to ask questions. Okay. So yeah, that's the Solana chart. Nothing much to do here at the moment. Don't get concerned about, like, we're seeing this pullback here now on charts. Like, this is normal. We're looking for a swing high to set, and then we're looking for where the lower high might set, right? So putting in PA like this, where we've paused, perfectly normal. Nothing to worry about. Let's take a look at BTCD for a second. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, but from last stream, I said, well, it looks like we're putting in an SFP here on BTCD, which would lead me to believe that we're either, if we're going to get a move up, that Bitcoin might lead that move, or if we had a sell-off, that alts would be crushed harder. Well, we've had a move up, and Bitcoin's put in a nice move up. But the interesting thing about that, through this move, is alts have moved quite a bit harder. So maybe BTCD is becoming a little less reliable as an indicator for where to place your focus, because we got that daily SFP and a nice move up on BTCD, which would tell you that the dominance of Bitcoin market cap has increased over the last several days. But there have been alts that have just absolutely fucking ripped, right? So maybe this is becoming less useful as more time goes on. I think for high time frame, it's good to be aware where a lot of the focus is, but it does seem like it's becoming a little less reliable. We can take a look at total 3. Okay. So total 3 is up into supply. Right, here's our daily supply on total 3. It's a bearish daily structure within supply, potential daily SFP taking place here. Still 5 hours to go. And sorry, so yeah, I guess people are wondering, like, when I say things like SFP, what's an SFP? Well, an SFP is a swing fail pattern. And what that is a swing level that you have price try to get above, but then fails to close above the level. Now, that doesn't happen until you get your candle close. And on daily, that's not for another 5 hours and change. But say this closes as a sweep or SFP, well, then you'd be thinking that since total 3 is the total crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and ETH, that alts will not perform as well. They may lag, or they may go down more than Bitcoin in whatever the next move happens to be. But like I was just saying, even though this had put in an up move, alts performed better. So it's becoming a little bit harder to use as a reliable indicator. And for those that don't know, all that total 3 is, total 3 tracks the total crypto market cap less Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I don't think it tracks like the infinite number of shitcoins like on Solana and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what the most up-to-date metrics are that go into producing the total 3. So I need to look into that. But if this ends up as an SFP, I would think that alts are going to underperform Bitcoin. We'll have to see. Let's take a look through some of the stronger ones. We'll take a look at FART, because that was a play that was a setup that played out really well from last stream. Now, this is really interesting because unlike most coins, unlike Bitcoin especially, FART coin has put in a higher high on the 3-day, which is pretty significant, right? Like, this was your 3-day supply, just like on Bitcoin. This is your 3-day supply up here. This is your 3-day supply all the way up here. Well, FART has flipped 3-day back to bullish. Now it's run up into this weekly level here. And I wouldn't be surprised if it rejects down and comes back, but I think you're looking for a higher low on FART. I mean, it's just looking really strong. So what took place? Last stream, there had already been a significant move on Fartcoin. And what I said was, if you get it, like, people are like, okay, well, how do I get on board this move? I don't want to be buying into the top, but I also don't want to miss this trade if it's going to start taking off. Well, I said, if you get an H4 close above this level, which we got right there, I said, well, then you're long. And you can see the move that it's put in from there, right? Like as soon as it closed above, so you got an entrance somewhere down there, like a 50% move plus. All right. So when you're getting into high time frame levels, it's just if you're looking for a way to not just top blast and get sold into, well, you're looking for signs that it wants to continue higher. And that H4 close right there, you can see that throughout that entire move down, it had yet to put in an H4 close that high. Well, you got that H4 close and then boom. At the moment, we can see that Fartcoin's actually coming down into demand on H4. So if this is going to continue higher, if FART is going to continue bullish, I think you're really looking for this demand here to hold. I think if it can hold here in this region, you're looking for the next higher low to go higher. If you close below here, it's a pretty solid short indicator. I know Fartcoin's been incredibly strong, and it's a difficult one to want to stand in front of to short, but it's been like this whole move down. This was a beautiful short, right? So after this extended of a move, and it's been put in quite a nice move, like the real trigger was that 3-day SFP down over here to get long. Now this is quite an impressive move, right? I think we really are watching to see what happens with this weekly level here, because this could just be an underside weekly retest into supply. But I think just to keep it simple and remain on a low enough time frame that you can trade around, I think H4 is a really great one to use. So if we hold this H4 range, we don't yet have the range high. This is looking likely to be the swing high here of the H4 range, but until this closes, this candle, we don't know with certainty. But if this H4 holds, this is your next area to look to get long. If you lose this level, like say you close below here, right? Like say you get some price action in here and then you close below, well, you're looking to short somewhere in here, right? But for the time being, since it's bullish H4 structure, bullish daily structure, bullish 3-day structure, you're just looking for continuation somewhere in here. That phrase, you want to see the meat of the move and not be the meat, well, it's a little hard to say from here that you want to be getting long here after so much of the move has taken place. But if you're trying to take low time frame scalps, you want this H4 demand to hold. Let's see what else we've got here. So what's one that's strong today? So Bera has been incredibly strong today. And this was actually last stream. I said, well, there was a potential short here that ended up just getting blown right the fuck out, right? Like I said, you can short from here after we got that SFP. And I said, you probably put your stop above this daily level. Well, you've since been stopped out. And the strength on this has been quite crazy today alone, up 15%. So let's see where we're at with this now. Let's zoom out and we can start to take a look at what we might be able to work with here next. Oops. Oops. No, I want that one. Stay. There we go. Okay. So it's looking quite likely that it's going to close above here. Next target is most likely back up into this area. You do have some supply here. Pop down to lower time frames. So here's our H4 low. H4 swing low. I mean, we can see how dramatic some of these swings are. So maybe it does come all the way back down here before going up. It's doing a similar thing though, right? Like it's trying to set the Monday range, it's trying to set a swing high. The actual swing high on Bera, it's going to be at least 2 candle closes before we know that, right? Because you can see the difference, right? Like on Bitcoin, if this candle closes below that swing level there, then we've got our swing high. But on Bera, it's still in the midst of that candle. So we won't know at least until 2 candle closes where our swing high is on this. And given the momentum and strength it's had, I wouldn't be surprised if it just keeps going up. Just looking at it on hourly and with the Monday range that is currently there, I mean, I think if you get some sort of pullback down into here, into this 7.3 region, that you're looking to get long again. I mean, what a beautiful move this has put in, right? And when the market is in a more bullish feeling environment like we're in right now, you want to be zeroing in on the tokens that have been strongest and looking to long those on pullbacks. Yes, the market does like to do the fast rotation games. And so, this has been strong today. So we'll probably find that tomorrow it's a little weaker and gives us the opportunity for those entries to take place. And then another basket of tokens will be strongest. Well, if this comes into like, say, the Monday midpoint, you want to be looking for triggers to get long on this. And don't forget, guys, the Monday range, if you're wondering about how to set up the Monday range, go and find that Spaceman BTC key level indicator on TradingView. It's free. And it'll auto mark out your Monday ranges for you and a few others if you want. I prefer to mark out the majority of my ranges myself by eye and by my preference. But you can set up your Monday range and midpoint. You can pop the daily open on there, the monthly, yearly open, different levels that you want to set up. You can even have it set up H4 ranges for you if you want. I prefer to mark those myself. But for something that is as repetitive as the Monday range that we use as a reliable strategy, it's nice to just be able to pop it up. And then you can set up your, this little eye thing here, this hide thing on the side. You can set it up so that you can just pop them on and off. So you don't always have to have them viewable. Do recommend doing that. Let's take a look at what else has been quite strong over the last few days. I mean, the market's looking great. Like, look at when's the last time we've had solid green like this on a Monday, right? It's feeling good. I know we don't want to delude ourselves into thinking that we're so back. We do want to be cautiously bullish here, but we do want to remember that we are running up into and towards high time frame supply. But for the time being, we are bullish biased until we get signal or setups or triggers telling us that it might be time to look for shorts. Are there any sex pairs that you guys want me to take a look at in particular before I take a look through the requests in the AFM TG group? Just looking through the chat. I have Blue Sky Jim says, what do I think about routine? Well, routine, I believe, has been a request, so I'll pull routine up shortly. Um, 1 Kilo 09 says, do you recommend a certain website to trade for beginners? What do you mean by that? Like just a platform to use? I mean, I prefer to trade on chain. So when I'm trading perps, I use platforms like Hyperliquid or Vertex. They're both great platforms. Um, Lots of different assets you can use, good amounts of leverage, good good risk management tools in place like stop losses and stuff like that. They're both very quick platforms, and the fees are low and very responsive. Um, what I would recommend, like I personally would always recommend trying to trade on chain just because I prefer to be um, in control of the assets that I'm using and not reliant on a SEX. But I mean, SEXs are fine just so long as you are um, you're not leaving your entire bankroll on there. But I think the biggest thing to take away, like you're still, I'm seeing that you're new and you're wanting to learn how to trade this type of stuff. The biggest takeaway would be to start with a small amount. Actually, this is a good lesson. So I was taught this a few years back. Just put $100 into an account, and if you can manage to not lose that $100 by trading perps, by trading with leverage, not even that you have to make a gain, but if you can take trades and you don't end up losing that $100, then you can start thinking about putting on more risk, because there's no difference between trading with $100 versus $1,000 versus $100,000 versus whatever amount. There's no difference to the a way that you should approach your risk parameters, meaning how much you're willing to risk per trade. And until you get to a place where you can not only protect yourself from losses and know how to minimize your losses and know where to properly place your stop losses and where your trade is invalidated, until you know how to do that, there is no point trying to size up, because you're just going to lose that money quicker. So start with $100, use it as education, try and protect that as much as possible by, even if trades go against you, that you're not losing more than, say like 2% of that per trade. But you really want to be able to protect that $100. And if you can't hold on to $100 trading with perps, then you certainly don't want to be adding more money to try and to trade leverage, because it's the quickest way to lose your money. It takes time. I mean, learning how to trade perps, learning about market structure, learning about invalidations, learning about the triggers and the setups, that all takes time. Okay, just looking through Ondo. I haven't looked at Ondo in a long time. Does one Ondo still equal one condo? No, not what I wanted. Is one Ondo still one condo? Let's take a look. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, let's mark out some key areas first. We're into monthly demand. I mean, weekly never lost structure on Ondo, right? Here's your weekly swing low. Here's your weekly swing high. It's a massive range, so like not overly useful there, but it's come down into weekly and monthly demand. Why did that disappear? It's come down into weekly and monthly demand. 3-day. Okay, so 3-day has been in bearish structure, right? Lower low, lower low, lower low. Okay. So our 3-day range is here. It's bearish 3-day, but it's bullish weekly, it's bullish monthly. Why is it bearish 3-day? Well, because it's made a sequence of lower lows, right? There was one lower low, two lower lows, three lower lows, right? It's into supply. Oh, it's not quite up. You know, the supply is a bit of a wide range in here. Let's check out daily. Really want to see it close above that. If it closes above there, then I think you're looking to trade it up higher into the supply area. Take a look at H4. I mean, H4 has made that higher high. No. Okay. So here's the H4 swing high. It just put in an SFP, but if this H4 can close above here, that changes things, and it's made a higher high on H4. But there is a potential short here because you did sweep the H4 range high. You'd put your stop somewhere up here. But I would really wait for this next candle to close, given that it's above the level now. But there is a valid H4 short setup here. Why is that the H4? Because there's your swing high. Here's your swing low on H4. Like this is your H4 range right there. Swing low, swing high to swing low. And you can see how SFPs give you good counter trade signals to go the other side of the range. Well, now we've come up here and we've potentially put in an SFP here. I would watch if this starts getting back below that level, even before the candle close, like say this starts moving, dripping down below here, I think you short it. You put a stop above this wick. But if it closes above there on H4, I mean, looking likely that it's going to try and trade higher up into the supply. And Ondo falls under that RWA basket, right? Of yield bearing. It's one of those yield tokens, right? Like, does Ondo have a stable coin? I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure about the story behind Ondo. I just know that it's RWA, and RWA is definitely a hot sector. It's where TradFi is entering the market. I think I did see something about Ondo being like essentially just a wrapper for the BlackRock BIDL, the BIDL token. And I think there's actually, I did read a couple tweets about it saying like, essentially it's just a lower version of BIDL, and the BIDL gives you actually better direct yield. But I'm not here to talk fundamentals. It's just something that I did read, but I do like RWA stuff in general right now. Let's take a look at Eigen. You know what? I'll add this. There we go. Let's take a look at Eigen. So there's been some renewed interest in Eigen, right? Because of the ETH staking ETFs. I mean, given how much the market's moved recently, there's just not much motion on this, right? It's come up into this daily supply. I don't really like this here, to be honest. Right? It's tagged daily supply. It put in a daily SFP after it tagged supply. I think really for Ondo, or sorry, for Eigen, to get more, to become bullish on Eigen, I'd want to actually see it flip this supply and then get a retest into there. Like when we were looking at Bitcoin and I was talking about that 84.5K level, view this region similar. Bullish above, neutral below. I'm not saying it's coming back down here, but I just think in terms of how much it's come up off the lows and because it's finding resistance into this supply, I think you say if it can flip this level, like say you get a close up here, like put some stuff in and it closes up here, well then you're looking for some sort of you're looking for something like that, where it flips the supply into demand, creating a breaker. Yes, there is more supply along the way. So there is a lot of supply on this, right? There's a lot of overhead supply on this token, but I think from here, I wouldn't be wanting to buy here just given that it's shown that SFP there right into supply. But if it can flip this area and puts in something constructive on low time frame here, like an H4 swing low with some sort of SFP or something in this region, then you can look to long it up into here somewhere. I think for now, unless you somehow bought this dead bottom down here, like stone cold bought the bottom, given this reaction here, the daily SFP and a supply, it's really telling you that this level, buyer or sellers are really stepping in here. So you want to start seeing acceptance above this supply, and then you can look for a dip back into this potential breaker to get long. It just seems like a token that has infinite sell pressure, right? Like they continue to use the token as incentives, and there was a lot of airdrop recipients. Not overly bullish eigen here, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe we can take a look at Lido in comparison. Right, so Lido I would put into a similar basket, and you can see Lido's already pushing up further. There's a level here we need to monitor. I don't remember when I drew this, but that looks like it played out quite accurately as a long for Lido. I do want to just be aware and cautious that as we get further up into these sort of daily areas of overhead supply, that we're not getting too overly bullish and too confident. Just because probability wise, given that it's into an area of daily supply, we still lean towards it looking to put in a lower high before lower. That doesn't necessarily mean lower as in fresh lows, but that you're looking for potential areas of rejection. You can still trade this on lower timeframes though for scalps, like H4 scalps. Right, like this put in a higher high on H4. So now you're just kind of looking for this H4 level to hold. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a rush to long this, but I'm also not in a rush to short something like this either until some sort of PA plays out that tells me it's a short. But like after moves like this, you don't really want to be just sort of longing into potential tops. Doesn't mean that they can't keep going, right? Like look at what happened with FART, right? Like it ran up into the supply and then just kept ripping. So things can change on a dime, but you just need to look for those if this then that sort of scenarios. I'm just going to take what is an SFP. SFP, it's a swing fail pattern. It's what I was talking about a little while ago. I'm just going to take a look through the chat to see what some of the requests were. Let's see. So we had a request for PVS. Let's take a look at PVS on Solana. Oh, here's routines. I know people have been asking about routine. This was actually a fair value gap that I drew out a couple days ago. And you can see how prices held that fair value gap on H4. You actually got an H1 SFP there. It's sort of stuck in between this interim range right here. All right. SFP sold off, SFP at the low. Now it's sort of trading in the middle. you really want to see this start to close again back above here, or if it gives you another SFP down here. It's kind of trading in a bit of a no man's range. I mean, look at this PA, right? Like, it's just very indicative of the fact that on Solana, people are still just very quick to secure profits. Like, look at this whipsawing, right? And it's difficult to make sort of accurate entry or exit decisions based off of that. But, we did see this SFP here. It's holding this H4 fair value gap. Like, if you go up to higher time frames, it eliminates some of that noise. Like, this doesn't look too bad here. All right. It's a difficult one to chart. Like, just looking at this right now, it is a difficult one to chart, just given how choppy it's been. I think you want it just to hold this level. If you start losing this level, it's not going to look too pretty. Will look even better if we start getting closes above here. Not really much more to say right now because it's sort of in the middle of this range here. What else was requested? Let's see. Kita. Okay. Let's take a look at Kita. I mean, incredibly bullish strength on this token, right? This is the daily chart. You have your daily fair value gap right here. I think you're looking for this region to hold. Maybe you get some sort of SFP here as another entry trigger. There's not really too much I can do with this at the moment. I mean, here's your H4 range high. This actually highlights how important SFPs can be on higher time frames, right? Like, you got an SFP there. Well, there was maybe your trigger to exit, but it's still holding and consolidating here above demand. If it can hold this level, you're looking for a move back up into here, and then you watch to see what takes place at the range highs. Like, if you start getting another H4 SFP up here, well, maybe that move is done. But this, like, is this distribution? Is this just reaccumulation? Who knows? But that's quite an impressive move it's had. So it's perfectly normal after you've had such a move for it to consolidate for a while, right? You get early buyers who start to distribute their tokens and sell some of their holdings, and you get people looking to enter on the token at a discount. I think even if it comes down into here on H4, like, this is a good discount area that you'd be looking to scoop up. Where it is right now, like, your almost definition of middle of the range, right? Like, you're right at the middle of the H4 range. And the middle area is our least preferred area to do business because, what's that saying? You don't diddle in the middle. Well, from middle of the range, it could go either way, right? It's 50-50. Whereas if you're closer to the top of the range, you're looking for reasons either to exit or to short or for continuation. Or at the bottom of the range, you're looking for reasons to enter or to be bullish. It is a strong looking chart though. So maybe you get some sort of other sweep down into here. Ideally, if you're looking to enter and you're looking to buy and hold, like, you're trying to get somewhere down here around that 32 mil area. And it would still be within that daily fair value gap. Let's take a look through some of the other ones. What is this? I have a request for a token called Valet. Let's take a look here. I don't know. Don't really love it. Let's mark out some key areas. I mean, talk about SFPs on high time frame. it's really showing you here that price does not want to accept above that level. And this is, it's a sub 1 mil market cap token. It's not looking too hot. I think maybe you can say to yourself, oh, well, it's already made an H1 lower low, and you can see it rejecting off that level. So here's your H1 range. It's a bearish H1 range. We don't fully have the swing low yet until this candle closes, if it closes like that, but let's just say this is your H1 range. Well, you can see that after it made the lower low, it's rejecting right off that level. I don't know. A token at 800K, that is, I mean, it's only a day old. So it could be falling into that fractal of Solana tokens where you get your snipers and all that, they exit. And then over days 2 to 5, people start to research what the project is. And then they start to decide, okay, maybe this is bullish. This is just, to me right now, not a very attractive looking chart. We can take a look at the fib though, see what the fib's saying. I mean, it front ran the 786. So maybe if you get some sort of play down here on the 786, there's a more solid entry. I wouldn't really want to be buying here though. Let's take a look and see what else we've got. Had a request for dog in me. Okay. Indicators. Not this. Dog in me, which is the highest volume version. Looks like this one. Oh, but this one's got more liquidity. Let's go with the one with more liquidity. I have not looked at this chart in a long ass fucking time. I mean, wow. Should have been looking at this chart clearly. Really kind of interesting how that weekly level, that's all you needed to do was just buy that weekly level and wait. It's also had the highest weekly close it's had since it was deployed, right? Like highest weekly close. I think you're probably really looking for that 87 million region, market cap region to hold. Let's go to daily. What do we see here? Well, you've got daily demand in here, which is tagged. Really want to see this level hold though, that weekly level. I'm just trying to see where I can find clear market structure. Now we can see that H4, actually it's flipped H4 back to bullish. Yeah, I mean, it's chopped like on chain for tokens of this market cap, like it starts to get pretty noisy and choppy on anything below H4. But I think so long as it can hold this weekly level, you're bullish. And if it starts closing back below here, like say it closes below and then you get signs of an underside rejection, right? Like here it closed below, but then it quickly recaptured it. You can see how it's been interacting with this level. That is important. So I think you're bullish above, more neutral / bearish leaning below. But so long as you're above this level, I think you're good. And looking through the request channel, there was a request for F. We'll jump back to that, and then I think we're going to wrap things up. And guys, in the chat, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask away. Don't be shy. Take a look at F. Okay, well, it's had quite a nice move with the rest of the market. It had a similar inflection area that Bitcoin was dealing with. Now it's run up into the daily range high. It hasn't quite taken out that level yet. And it is a bearish daily range. But overall, quite strong. I mean, 11% move on the day right now. You don't want to be prematurely shorting something. So the question was looking for a short setup on S from Quotas in the AFM TG group. I think it's too early to be wanting to short this, to be honest with you. Like, yes, you have had some triggers here on H1, like SFP. Something that is a little bit, excuse me, still clearing some shit out of my chest from that cold I had last week, but it's mostly gone. What's difficult about this is look at the H1 range, is this whole fucking move, right? Like, where are you trying to look at this and say, okay, I'm bullish above, looking to short below? Same thing for H4. Like, your H4 range is all the way down here. It's a little bit tough. Like, maybe that was your trigger. I think you can watch to see how it interacts with here. So let's just, okay. So we can see that we've got a version of a range playing out here, right? Because this was such a massive move. We have a version of a range playing out here. His question was specifically to looking for a short setup. So if you're not in off of that SFP, and I also think it's still risky shorting anywhere in here, what you want to be doing is what you would be looking for on a short on this, because you are in the daily supply near the range high, is you want price to close below here on H1, possibly even on, no. Okay, so let's take it from H1. So you want price to close below here, and then you'd be looking for it to come up into here, into some area of supply, depending on where that forms. And you'd be looking for the short setup here, right? And it'd probably be something like that, right? So you want to get an H1 close below 0.5906, according to the Binance Perps chart. Get an H1 or an hourly close below there, then you're looking to short supply, wherever that may be. Until then, we don't exactly know where that will be, but it might be, you know, it might be this here. So say you get price to close down here, well, then you're looking to short, right? That's what I would look for. It's too early right now. You don't want to jump in front of these moves. Like, these have been strong moves today. And, you know, given H4 is in such a bullish stair-stepping pattern, and I don't think Bitcoin has done its move yet, you don't want to be getting too trigger happy looking to short. Still 40 minutes to go until this H4 close. Would be great if we put in a swing high here so that we can close off this range and then look for next setups. Because maybe if this ends up as your H4 range high and you want to try and look for some sort of counter H4 signal, well, you could look for an SFP up here to short it maybe back down to the Monday mid-range, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. 40 minutes to go. Watching this candle close importantly or intently on a lot of coins. If we can get those H4 swing highs, we get something that we can potentially work with. But this is still hours out, right? Even if this plays out and this is your swing high, you don't really have a setup until multiple candles from now. Whether that's some sort of move down into the Monday mid-range, potentially into these fair value gaps here to look for the next long, or maybe it's an SFP of the H4 range high that you can look to try and short that down to the mid-range to try and capture moves both ways. But as of right now, we need things to play out a little bit more. But really beautiful moves. We caught that long, 84.5K Bitcoin. As soon as it closed above there, we had that long. We're bullish biased until we get further up into supply. We're getting continued bullish stair stepping with higher highs on H4. Now we're just waiting for some PA to play out, right? Like, that's a lot of what the job is. You mark out your levels, you have patience, you wait for them to hit, you have your setups, you have your triggers, you understand whether you're looking to go long or whether you're looking to go short or whether you're looking to enter or exit a trade. And then you just wait. You set some alerts, you put on your alarm. I've mentioned on many occasions that I have every H4 close, I have an alarm that goes off so that I just know to check in on tokens that I'm monitoring and either in the trade or looking to get into the trade so that I can see how things are unfolding. So you're not having to sit there staring at the chart 24/7. I mean, I love charts. I love sitting with charts all day long. That's it's my job. I love looking at charts, and I'll just always have them open in front of me. But it is nice to be able to go and turn that off for a bit and do other things. And once the alarms go off, you just take a look. You keep track of progress, and whether you're looking for your setup, your entry or exit, or to take profit, etc., etc., it's a good way to keep yourself not having to be tunnel visioned on the chart. Any last questions before we wrap up? Thoughts? Plume. What is Plume? I see that question there from Blue Sky Jam. What is Plume? Is that an on-chain token? What is that? What's Plume? Plume, is that this? It must be. It's a 300 mil market cap token. Never heard of it before. What is Plume? What's the highest volume? This one. Let's take a look at Plume. What is Plume? What are the, oh my God. Deck Screener, what are you doing? Like, I'm really happy that I don't really use Deck Screener too much anymore. Like, what is this? This is so intrusive. Get out of here. Fuck off with that. Plume Network, first full stack L1 ROWA chain. Okay, that's interesting. Thoughts on Plume? Well, was that a daily higher high? You did have a daily higher high, but it was also a weekly SFP. Don't love that aspect of it. You really want this to hold. I'm not saying it's coming all the way down there, but you did get a weekly SFP, high time frame signal. That's usually quite reliable. I think for the time being, on daily, you want this daily demand to hold, but there is a case for it potentially coming down into here. Let's take a look at H4. Let's see. Yeah, H4 has just been really noisy, right? Like, you broke structure when you close below it here, and then you regain structure when you closed above it here. So on H4, within this daily demand, you're looking for this to hold here. I wonder if this is available on, let's take a look. Oh, okay. Is there a perp version available? Oh, there we go. Okay, this is probably going to be a more reliable chart to look at for something like this than on-chain, just given the noisy lower timeframes are on on-chain tokens. Okay, so we have H4 demand, H4 higher high. We have our H4 range, swing low, swing high. You had a higher high, at least based on this chart. I don't know if there's a chart with more history than this one, but you're into H4 demand right now. So you're looking for this to hold. Closes below here. You've lost structure again. You get out. I mean, this I don't love though, right? Like here, if this just ends up being a massive daily SFP, there's just so little chart history on this that I can't really do too much, but you're saying to yourself, okay, I want this to hold. And hopefully that was the chart you were looking at. And I think we're going to start wrapping it up. We're approaching that 1 hour and a half mark, which is where I like to wrap these up and keep them under an hour and a half long. If there are no further questions, let me just scroll through the chat real quick and see if there was any others. Looks like I've covered all of the questions from today. What do I think of routine? We looked at routine, right? I'm pretty sure we looked at routine. Yeah, we did. Let's pull it up one more time. Yeah, you can see this interrange. It's just showing a lot of indecisiveness, right? Like, sellers eager to sell here. You have buyers showing up down here, but now we're sort of middle of this range here. Unclear to me which way it wants to go. You get a trigger down here, you can look to buy. You get a trigger up here. If you're in, you can look to sell, or if it gets to close above, then you're looking for it to keep going. But from right here, it's difficult. And what's the other one? Let's look at one more. Saratoga is the beta to this, right? Which has been catching catching bids. Is it this one? Yeah, it looks like it's this one. I mean, this is looking pretty decent too, right? Here's your H1 range. I think that's into H4 demand as well, yeah. So you're looking for this to hold on Saratoga, or if you're looking for an entry, you're looking to enter here, and if it starts getting below here, then you cut. But this is the beta to routine, but the chart does look a little bit stronger than routine at this moment in time. Okay, well, I do want to thank everybody for coming out today. Appreciate you showing up to these streams. Hopefully these simul streams across Twitch, YouTube, and X have been helpful for everybody to find me where you prefer to watch and join streams from. I've been enjoying doing them across the multi-platforms. It's been a good way to expand the audience and to find new viewers, new members, to try and help people learn this trading system, help to teach the system that I use, help to show some setups, and give you guys the tools and information you need so that when you're looking at a chart, you can understand your bias and you can look for the setups that work for you. Because as we've said in the past, this is not a signal service, and I'm not about giving out low time frame setups all day long. I'm more about pointing out the high time frames and where you look, or where you want to be looking for setups that you can take on your own, so that you can learn these skills and take them with you for the rest of your life. Because once you figure out the system and how to use it, you can take it to trade on any market, and it's a skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life. And so long as you have a internet connection and a market to trade in, you can make money. And that's always been the goal with these AFM streams and the Telegram group. So I do want to thank each and every one of you for joining on this stream. Once again, I am 0xRapture. This is Astrology for Men, coffee, charts, and a cigarette. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel across all the platforms wherever you are joining us from. And don't forget you can find links in the About section below or in the description for the video. I want to give a shout out to the sponsors of this show, the Daily Edge, thedailyedge.com/subscribe, and ChainEDGE, ChainEDGE.io, which you can find links to in the description or in the About section, as I just said before. Once again, I am 0xRapture, and thank you all for joining. Appreciate you all. Catch you next time. Next stream's most likely going to be on Wednesday. And with that, ciao.